Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Middle Age Gaming podcast. We have 4 people today. Please welcome Eric Alvarado, and I hope I did not butcher his name. He is going to be with us whenever he can, which is still a wonderful addition, right? More people, more voices, more opinions, more games for you guys to sort of understand, like, what is Eric playing? What's his personality like? Does he match me? Is he going to be my new favorite Middle Age gamer? That's always wonderful, right? Because, when you get joint podcasts like these sort of oh God, I'm blanking on that name of that podcast, but like Giant Bomb and other podcasts like that, where everyone has a different personality, plays a different game, you sort of have a favorite person. So I'm not going to ramble on too much on today. We've got 4 people, so we have lots of stuff to talk about. And as usual, we are going to start off with Antoine. He's going to fill us in on what's been happening this week in his gaming life.
Not much surprise as usual. I spent my week trying to discover as much of Sniper Elite 5 as I could, and I think I pretty much done with the game at this time. Again, as I said, it's the mechanics. If you played Sniper Elite for you, there's not much change compared to before. And if you never played, it's very much like Hitman, but it may be less polished. So if you play Hitman, you very much know what it's like. What I did this week in this was trying to accomplish the kill challenge, because there's 9, maybe 10 missions if you add the DLC, and each of them you have a specific target to kill with a specific method to kill him, and this will unlock a different weapon that you usually won't use anyway. But it's just to say that you did it. So yeah, I did this all week, and I think starting now I will just restart my Tales of Arise and play the second part of the game.
So you finished the Sniper Elite 5?
Oh yeah.
What? Oh,
there's just 9 missions. It's 2 hours per mission. That's fast.
Oh, damn.
When you don't sleep, that's fast.
Unless you're completionist, like he said.
No,
no. Antoine, since you're done, then you've got to give us like a an arbitrary rating, whatever it is you want to call it, to sort of give people an indication.
I'll give 13 or 14
out of 20.
Yeah, out of 20. Allez, I'm gracious. I'll give a 14.
14. Okay, so for people who haven't bought it yet, buy now, wait for a sale, or not worth it?
Wait for a sale, or just go to Xbox Live, or special promotion, $1 per month for 3 months, and you have Sniper Elite for a month for $1.
Nice. Yeah, Xbox Game Pass. Yeah. That could be good value for people.
Thank you, Microsoft.
Okay, very cool. So, wow, one of us is done Sniper Elite 5. I have not played, of course. Okay, then we're on to me. I totally forgot I'm number 2. So, Diablo Immortal came out last week. I was super excited. I'm like, okay, I don't plan to play it, but I'm like, okay, let me install it on the iPad, because my iPad is been set to America for the longest time, because the Americans always get the best stuff. No pun intended there. And so it was interesting. Very cool. There's kind of a pain to download, because it's a very like what a lot of mobile games have done these days. It was a very small download, and then you have to like manually download each of the like areas and packs and stuff. And it's definitely like Blizzard has put a lot of effort into it, because they've got settings for like low, medium, high, so it can run on like an old cell phone. Like what are we talking about? Like a Snapdragon before 765, right? 665, like old style 4-core processors on your phone. It's that old. It reminds me of the old. There was an old like a AA RPG game that was very Diablo-ish, like Abaddon or Avalon or something like that, when it looks low. So I have the first iPad Pro from 2016, 12.9 inch. So I think it's like an A13 processor. And I ran it on medium. And even when we were fighting these giant bosses, it was pretty fine. Overall, conclusion is this is totally fine for a middle-aged gamer, as long as you're not playing this hardcore. Like we were chatting online, right, which is the app that we use out here in Asia. And like Phil was like, we should play this in multiplayer. And, Phil definitely has that personality to play games for a longer period of time. I think if you did that, you'd sort of get up into the wall where, like Adam pointed out this week, like I guess he had, Antoine pointed out that the very famous YouTuber Asmon Gold had said you needed $110,000 to sort of get everything you needed in this game. I saw another headline this morning. A guy spent $4,000 already, and he could not get a legendary gem for items. And you need legendary gems to sort of get the highest level gear, to do the highest level content. So I've not uninstalled it. Like I think it's a beautiful game. Like the assets, the art, the story, the voice acting is really, really impressive. And I have 7-year-old speakers on my iPad Pro, but the sound has this really good depth, and the actors, it's recorded very well. As people like us, we do podcasts and we know what good audio sounds like. It's very impressive. So I'm gonna keep it, and I'll play it. Like if something happened to my Switch or my computer, I'd play Diablo Immortal on my iPad. Otherwise, since I played it last week, I have not picked it up, and I don't plan to pick it up until I want to play something like that or I'm in the mood for that. But definitely something for you probably keep on your phone if you're on a long subway ride, or if your wife's driving in a long car ride, or you're going somewhere. Like I want to play something action. It's a fantastic choice. Don't get me wrong. Definitely worth it. You can play it, get through a lot of this stuff, and you get to a point you're like, okay, I'm not spending money. Uninstall it and you're done. So cool. Yeah, definitely something, and it's free. I believe I think Adam said it right, that maybe somebody said it. Diablo Immortal is coming to non-American countries at the end of June. So I believe it's June 23rd. I don't know if it was Adam or not, but somebody said it.
Me.
It wasn't Adam. Okay. So yeah, that is Diablo Immortal. I played a bunch of stuff, but we can talk about that at another time. So Adam, what about you? I saw you playing Horizon Zero
Forbidden West again. Yeah, they released a patch. I got a question though, real quick. So, have you tried Diablo Immortal on BlueStacks yet?
I wouldn't, because the settings would be the same.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, on the PC, there's a lot more settings than what I expect. So like they have Bloom effects, and they have FXAA, and they have a bunch of effects I didn't expect, but it's still very much a mobile game. They did fix that whole UI size, so I did see that on PC streams. So it's Diablo Immortal.
Do they have cross save?
Yeah, so like if you play, if you're on your computer and you want to play and go sit with the wife in the living room, you can switch to your phone or switch to your iPad. Yeah.
Okay, so there's no point in getting it on BlueStacks. Just get the PC version.
Yeah, just get the PC version. Yeah, there's no, like, they've obviously put time into it. Like I saw the picture of the Diablo Immortal team. It looked like a good 60-70 people for a mobile game. So they've definitely put in time into this game. I feel sorry because there's going to be a lot of negative reaction to this with the whole NFT gaming stuff and mobile gaming stuff still being pretty bad. So it's all those people who worked in it are going to have a tough time.
Do you think it's going to push back the Diablo 4 release date, depending on the success of Diablo Immortal?
I think as soon as Bobby Kotick gets out of Activision Blizzard, then there won't be a pushback. But I know I think it'll be fine, because they've obviously decided to segment it to say, okay, this is mobile, this is not mobile. I think this is going to affect Arclight Rumble, which is that other sort of game that's coming out from Blizzard. That's the sort of Clash of Clans, Clash Royale lookalike that Blizzard's trying to do. I think that's going to affect the monetization. I think there's a very small chance they'll change it, but we'll just have to see.
All right.
Yeah, Horizon Forbidden West.
So Horizon Forbidden West, they released I I guess you call it a patch, an update. And so they finally added New Game Plus. They've patched out a lot of things that were obviously troublesome the first time you played around. They added in a new difficulty, ultra hard, and they added in a few new things that you can unlock only in New Game Plus, which are there's I don't remember how many weapons there are, maybe 8 or 9. And then they also have some new face paints, and they also have some new dyes for your armor. So they added 1 dye for each, what do you call them, tribe. So if you're wearing Nora armor, there's 1 dye for Nora armor, there's 1 dye for Karja armor, that sort of thing. So I've been playing through that again. I'm just focusing only on the story to get through as quickly as possible, at least on stream. Off stream, I'm going to do all the side stuff because the way you can unlock the new things is similar to what they did in Ghost of Tsushima, in that in Ghost of Tsushima, when you played New Game Plus, every time you completed a mission, you would get ghost flowers, and then you could use ghost flowers to buy new things that were added in New Game Plus. And in this one, every time you beat any kind of mission or do any kind of side content, like unlock a tall neck, you'll get, I think they call them champion tokens, and then you can turn in your champion tokens for this new gear. So I'm just kind of playing around with that, and it's going way faster than it did the first time. And it's kind of funny because even though this is, when I first played, I played on, I guess, the highest difficulty, which I guess was hard. And then now I'm playing on ultra hard, which is an even harder difficulty, but it's so much easier this time because I'm all geared up. So because I have all my max gear from the previous save, it's actually easier than it was the first time I played through. So if you're worried about, oh, it's going to be too hard, don't worry about that. It's going to be fine. The only thing is it does take longer to take down some of these larger machines because they do have quite a bit of life. So you might be in a fight for longer, but you're not going to be, it's not going to be significantly more difficult because they're just kind of doing a little bit more damage. They take a little bit more damage, but they're not more aggressive or anything like that. So
How much is longer, Adam?
So on, because I never really timed myself. If you're playing on, okay, so if I was taking down, say, a Trimmer Tusk on hard, I could probably take it down in maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and now it's probably taking me 8 to 10. Yeah, so they just have more life, basically. So.
And in terms of replayability, if you already finished the game once, does a New Game Plus really incite you to replay? Like, I'm thinking of myself right now. I'm not really a completionist right now on Forbidden West. Would you recommend me to restart, to do the New Game Plus, or is it really interesting if you're not after the trophies?
So if you really enjoy the gameplay and you had a lot of fun with it, then yeah. But if you're the kind of person where, like, I feel done with it, you're not going to get anything new out of it except for unlocking some new weapons and stuff. So it really depends on how much you enjoy the gameplay itself. So yeah. So I love the gameplay. So for me, it's fun, and it's going a lot faster this time because I'm kind of skipping all the side content, and I'm just like, okay, I know exactly where to go. I don't feel obligated to check out every little question mark on the map. I could feel fine to ignore those because I already have those on a different save. So it's definitely more casual and faster. So yeah, it's entirely dependent on how much you enjoy gameplay.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Eric, you're up, man. First time. What have you been playing?
Time. I've been playing Genshin Impact. Mostly version 1, 2.7 just came out last week on May 31st. So additional content, new character, Yellen or Yelan. I'm not sure exactly how it's spelled, but no, that's pretty much the game that I've been playing. And and it's very repetitive. Genshin Impact when there's no updates. So it's mostly level up, getting some artifact sets, and yeah. So I was really excited about the version update that came out, and I'm trying to get that new Yellen character in my rooster, and then starting to play with her. But that was pretty much it in regards to PC. In regards to mobile, I've been playing Evoni. So it's have you guys know Ivoni? I guess maybe no.
I think I know from the fact that BlueStack offer Ebony.
So it's they so the advertisement gets you right because I got caught by the advertisement that you see on the internet because it looks like a simple those keys that you pull and sorry, and when I clicked on it it's actually a strategy game, a gacha strategy game that you have to buy gems, you have to actually pay a lot of money to be able to survive into that strategy war game. Um, so so yeah, I mean, uh, those are pretty much the two games I've been playing lately, and I just can't wait for Tower of Fantasy to come out to get a little bit of change compared to the Genshin Impact.
What is Tower Fantasy?
So Tower of Fantasy is a similar game like Genshin Impact, another gacha system to get your characters, but it's supposed to be as free to play as Genshin, so you don't need to spend any money whatsoever to move forward in the game. But it seems to be a lot more smoother. It's actually so Genshin Impact is by MiHoYo and the Tower of Fantasy is by Tencent. So it's going to be pretty competitive. It's very similar, but it looks to be a lot more dynamic. There's seems to be a lot of more mechanics um, involved in the game. And yeah, no, it looks really interesting. It's the beta was available for people to play back in May, but the game is only supposed to have a release date here in North America for 2022. So it isn't available as of yet.
Keep me up to date. I really want to try that because I like Genshin Impact up to a certain point where I found it a bit boring, as you said, repetitive. But I like this kind of. It's pretty, it's pretty and it's very nice, and I really like the Zelda Breath of the Wild kind of vibe. So yeah, I really want to try. And if it's multiplayer, we can go on the same server and stream that at some point.
Yeah, no, definitely. And what I really like about Genshin Impact, it's the music in that game is just phenomenal. It gets brings you right in if you're playing with with a headset and everything. You really feel like you're part of the game. And yeah, like you said,
the only
go
issue
ahead.
is that you can't filter the voice of Payman.
That's if you play in English.
I do play in English.
Yeah, I know. I get you. That's why I play I play with the Korean language because no, the English.
I should do that.
She does a great job. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think I think the original language is much better than English.
Wouldn't the original be Chinese?
Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, Adam. It's Chinese, not Korean. But there is a Korean dub. So there's I think there's 5 languages that you can choose. So
yeah, I see online people keep saying like, "Oh yeah, you got to listen to the original Japanese," and people are like, "It's not a Japanese game, dude."
No.
Let me pose this question to you. I mean, especially Eric as well. Is for Tower Fantasy, do you think they'll even be able to compete? Because I saw the Chinese government, they said they started allowing games to come out again in May after pausing for a significant amount of time. And then at the end of May, they said, yep, no, stop. We're not allowing any more games to come out. So I think Tencent's even going to be able to release Tower Fantasy in China, where their biggest market is. I'm sure the rest of the world will be fine, right? But I mean,
Tencent is a
Tax.
powerhouse. Huh? It's
Yep,
really big.
but they
It's
still
like-
have to bow down to the Chinese government, right? And they can't release a game if the government says, "Hey, stop."
It's China. I'm sure that there's some loopholes somewhere.
Was Tencent the
Dude,
one that went into
They
pig
lost
farming?
$10 billion in the first quarter of this year because they couldn't release any games. So that there is no more giving money to the government, right? Xi
Ouch.
Jinping's very famous for clamping down on corruption.
Yeah,
so.
because even if you could give money to the government to develop the game, you still wouldn't be able to release it.
Yeah, you saw exactly. The government has said, no, like there was an article yesterday in the paper about how they're educating kids starting at elementary school, and they have like prosecutors or like lawyers in school to say this is the way of Chinese society. And
The thoughts
this
of
is how.
Xi.
Yeah, exactly. So
Keep an eye on LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure that a big Tencent team is gonna come to Taiwan very soon.
Well, I was hearing that Tencent actually published that they're focusing in their Canadian office
Oh wow.
to move forward with Tower Fantasy, and I've been hearing and my friends in the video game industry that they're aggressively hiring people from the gaming industry to actually work on the game. Now, again, how they're going to release it, that's a different story. But Tencent is Tencent, so they might find a way.
Time for you to change from Cisco, move it to Tencent.
I'm good here. Thank you.
All right, so it is that time of the podcast, right? We've had enough fun talking about the games we are playing or have played or will be playing. We are talking about today is the last time you guys will be hearing about, not the last time, but the last time for the foreseeable future, you'll be hearing about AA games or AAA games from us. Today, we are with Antoine's choice, which is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which is that whole Musou, I don't remember how you pronounce it anymore, but whatever the hell that's called. And as usual, Adam's going to take it away with his take on this game.
I'm surprised that Crian has never heard of this genre before, because I know that you are super huge into the power fantasy of gaming, and this is like the ultimate power fantasy genre. I mean, it's just you versus hundreds of dudes, and you're just wiping the floor with them.
But this has always been a console-centric thing, right? Even going back to the 90s on PCs,
I don't know if I'd say
this kind of game.
Okay.
Because there was no this. I'm guaranteed to remember. I've never heard of this kind of game except on consoles. Going back to the PlayStation.
It's a very Japanese thing, because the whole Musou game is actually Koei Temco or Omega Force, which is Koei. So Musou, I believe, is a translation. I might be wrong, but I think Musou is a translation for warriors.
Yeah, it
So
was the Dynasty Warriors games was something like Samurai Musou or something like that.
Correct.
So, but yeah, I always played the Dynasty Warriors game. I know they had the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I think it's a different franchise, but it's very similar and it covers basically the same characters. And then they had the Samurai Warriors one. So there's been a whole bunch of them. So I don't know if this is all that innovative in terms of new kind of gameplay. But oh wait, I have the. Why am I not showing this? There we go. So yeah, the Musou genre basically is just you versus hundreds of dudes. You're super powerful. They're super weak. You're just wiping the floor with them. They're just kind of flying everywhere. And a lot of times the point of the game is to get your combo up as high as humanly possible. Sometimes you can get them up in the thousands. And you do that by just continuously attacking, but also a lot of times you have some sort of attack that will kind of suck them in, or some kind of thing that will kind of like they'll do a tornado or something and they'll pull everybody in, and you just kind of like drive them all up and whatnot. So you can see right here, if you're watching the video, that she does this tornado and it sucks everyone in, and she can just do that. So getting high combos is a real big part of this game, and you really just want to do as much damage as possible. They're not typically very hard. They don't typically take a lot of strategy. They do typically have a lot of different combos that you can do. And so, like your strategy isn't how do I survive? Your strategy is how do I get my combos up and keep them consistent without breaking them, where there's been too long of a gap between the last time I struck a guy and this next time I struck a guy. Sometimes they have a boss battle somewhere in there. But at least in the Samurai Warrior or the Dynasty Warriors franchises, the boss battles usually aren't that great because it's just kind of, it's 1v1 and the game is not designed for 1v1, so you're just kind of dancing around each other and just doing these attacks that are big AoEs and hoping that, you damage them more than they damage you. I've never played a Fire Emblem game before, except for I think there was one on mobile, wasn't there? It was kind of like a strategy
Oh yeah,
one on mobile
it's
a while
always
back.
strategy.
Yeah, but there was one on mobile a while back. I don't remember what it was. It was before Three Houses. I played that one for a little bit, but I wasn't super impressed with it just because it. Yeah, I mean, I'm used to games like Other Side or Final Fantasy Tactics or Disgaea or something like that. And this being on mobile, it was a very simple game. It wasn't one of the more complex ones that we're getting today. This was just kind of a simple, it's on a grid, you move a guy on a grid, and everybody I think had 1 or 2 attacks. And so it was a little bit more chess-like in that sense, that it was simplified. So I wasn't very impressed, so I didn't play it for very long. But yeah, I don't really know the story or anything like that. I think Antoine has a better idea of what's going on story-wise.
Story-wise, every Fire Emblem is very different. So
Oh, okay. Great. So this is not related to Three Houses then?
it's a spin-off. So you have roughly the same settings, you have the same character, but you don't need to play 3 houses to play 3 hopes.
Okay.
You have your character from three houses, and you wipe the floor with a completely idiots army in front of you, and that's
Is
it. And enjoy.
Is there like a relationship building that you can do with your characters? Because that's, one of the main things about Fire Emblem is, building that
that's
relationship
waifus.
with.
Very good question. Actually, I don't really know, but Musou is not a genre that like a Crian didn't even knew about it. So people don't really know about this. For instance, like they did a very great Musou game on Berserk, but if you don't like manga, or if you don't live in Asia, it's hard to know that there's a Berserk game on Musou. If you want to have a very good Musou game that people would know, maybe would be Zelda Hyrule
Mhm.
Warriors. That was fantastic, and in there you have some relationship with your fairies, kind of. Not even sure if it's you. Remember, you give them food, you give them powers, but can you give them power up with? I don't think relationship are really a big part in Musou, so I don't know how they would incorporate it in the game. But it's I checked the gameplay. It's very similar to Hero Warriors in the fact that you have like 10 or 20 characters. You have the maps are roughly the same, which are very big maps with some objectives at different points of the maps. You have some of your characters which are AI controlled, but you can give them orders. Go there, try to beat this boss or capture this fort while I do this, and so you have a little bit of strategy, just to say that there is some. But as Adam said, that's not the core of the game. The core of the game is you had a long day, you're stressed out. Do a genocide. Literally, I can't even say like wipe out an army. That's not strong enough. Genocide the whole map. That's it.
Yeah,
Hack and slash.
these are this is basically the hack and slash, like the most generic hack and slash you can get. And yeah, these games are built entirely on power fantasy and just being able to like feel like you're amazing. So they're very relaxing games typically. They're not typically very hard. They're not designed to be that way.
Music could be important because a good music on this while you are destroying 100 of enemies. Don't play that just before going to bed because you're going to be pumped up after that.
I wonder who started the hack and slash, like that type of version. Like it came basically at the same time as Devil May Cry, which is also like a hack and slash that you feel great, and on top of that with the music and everything all together, it's like I remember like when I started playing Devil May Cry for the first time, I was like, oh my god, what is this? I never. So fast, like this is faster than Sonic the Hedgehog. Like what's going on? And yeah, and then I started to see that like Dynasty Warriors coming up. So
yeah,
when I was living in the States with the Devil May Cry, that was one of the games. My roommate was playing Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy, one of the Final Fantasies, but Devil May Cry was the thing. Was just, oh my god, I want to get a PlayStation so badly just to play Devil May Cry, because Dante with these twin guns and they're hitting enemies up in air. And even though all that stuff is on PC right now, it's never made it down up to my list of I'm gonna buy this at the moment. Sorry, Adam, you were gonna say.
Oh, I was just looking it up. It says Dynasty Warriors first came out in 1997. Samurai Warriors came out in 2004. So Dynasty Warriors predates it. So definitely the Dynasty Warriors games came out before Devil May Cry by a few years. But I'm not sure which would be the first hack and slash like this. I don't know if they're the first ones or if somebody else did it first. I don't know.
There was an XCOM I remember on PC, even though after I said there's nothing like it, but you used the WSD, and it wasn't a tactical game. It was a horde fighting game. But again, horde games and this style of game are different because you played like a robot, and your job was to defeat all the aliens, and you're fighting huge numbers of them. And I remember at that time, I think I had was it a 486 or some really old 90s PC, and it struggled with like 20 enemies on the screen back in the day. So I don't know. It's I can't think of any earlier version of this. I think the earliest version I can think would be the original Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, so here I'm looking up hack and slash, and it says the first official hack and slash game would be Prince of Persia, but that was 2D. If you're looking at 3D hack and slash games, then it's saying Dynasty Warriors, Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry, and God of War.
Is Ninja Gaiden back in the 90s as well? I remember.
Well, these were all in the 2000s.
Okay.
I mean, Dynasty Warriors was 1997. Devil May Cry was 2004. Ninja Gaiden was 2000. I don't know.
And it's funny, right? Because Tecmo was the one that was doing the Ninja Gaiden games, and Koei was the one doing the Dynasty Warriors games, and then they became one. They became one, so now it's one company making the same type of games.
That is interesting.
That might have been why they came together. They just naturally gravitated towards each other.
So, Eric, what do you think about Antoine's choice for this week? Fire Emblems, Warriors 3 Hopes.
No, actually, great choice. I'm also a Fire Emblem fan. Well, I've been playing Fire Emblem since the the Famicom times. So I've never really except for the Devil May Cry hack and slash, or the Dragon Quest Heroes, that was the last hack and slash, that type of game that I played. So very interesting. I'm interested in, I'm actually right after this podcast I'm gonna go buy it.
Just to remind people, because it's very rare on this podcast, this game Fire Emblem, it belongs to Nintendo, so it's a Switch exclusive, and its release date is June 24th, so you can buy it right away.
Oh,
Pre-order it.
You'll have to wait a little bit.
Pre-order it. I'm gonna pre-order it right now.
Ooh.
And if it has any kind of length like Zelda Hero Wires, that means we won't see you for the rest of the year. Because Hero Wire, you can spend thousands. It's even, you can spend more time than on this than on Skyrim, literally. So it's just crazy the amount of hours you're gonna waste on it.
Nice. So I'll fill in what basically, you guys have pretty much said most of it. Yeah, only available on Switch. Though I think like going back to what is that sort of Switch game with the dragons and stuff? Oh God, I can't remember. Anyway, I think the Switch or Nintendo have come up with like a 2-year, like exclusivity is the wrong word because they don't mention it in any documentation, but pretty much 2 years after this comes out, we can expect like a remastered HD version on the PC if you are a PC gamer. So the only thing I'm worried about is just frame rates, because a lot of these games, though Nintendo's really good about this sort of stuff when it comes to sort of like these sort of AAA first party titles. They're not first party, but second party titles, like they're pretty good about sort of making sure it runs optimally on your Switch. And given that we're not getting a Switch Pro until 2024 probably, and Apple had their event, and we know they announced the M2 MacBook, and the whole Apple has their own little equivalent of making games look really, really good. But even the M2 MacBook, the wait time, Antoine was saying this about, where you guys work, like you guys have a huge wait time for products on your side as well. So I mean, there's going to be waiting for whatever you want to do, come whatever you want to get anyway. One thing I did like as well is they have some cool Amiibos for this. So I have 2 Amiibos, but I've never used them. They just sit in their box because I'm one of those people who collects stuff and never takes them out of the box because I don't know why. That's just my poor habit. So they've got some cool Amiibos, incentives to buy the digital version as well. Because of course Nintendo wants to reduce secondary sales. So I believe if you get the digital version, you have like some bonuses just for only the digital version. And if you have saves from 3 houses as well, that will give you a bonus in the new game, which is always good. And so the story seems to be good. Like you guys mentioned the story, there are 3 factions you can align with, just like in 3 houses. And though I've never played it, that's one of those games where we have the like Nintendo secondhand games group here at Kaohsiung, and I'm always trying to find someone who wants to sell this secondhand. Seems to have like a tactical depth. Like in the actual description on the Nintendo Switch site, they mention that there's another game that does this. Issue commands to your army during the chaos of battle to achieve missions and objectives. Swap between characters on the fly to maximize your battle strategies, whatever the hell that means. But it's not just smashing and bashing, which is kind of cool. So they've made a very broad, appealing game. So that is very interesting. So we have to talk about the usual question I ask you guys. Eric's already answered this question. He said, he's going to pre-order it immediately after the podcast. Antoine and Adam, what is your feeling?
Antoine, you want to go first?
Sure. It's a Switch exclusive, so it's going to be expensive. So it's likely going to be a pass. I love Musou. It's very fun, but it's not my favorite genre overall. So I would rather buy an old Musou at cheaper price on Steam or something like this, or if there's a Nintendo sale on the Berserk one, for instance, and I'll buy this one when it's on sale in 2 or 3 years. It's not the kind of game I would buy at full price right now.
What do you think, Mr. Gray?
I don't have a Switch, so I'm gonna have to pass. If I had a Switch, though, then I would still probably pass on a while, just because when I was younger, I really liked the Musou games. I really enjoyed that, the power fantasy. But as I've grown older, I've found that I typically enjoy more games that have more of the individual kind of give and take kind of combat. Something more akin to Ghost of Tsushima, where there's kind of like the blocking and there's more of a like a back and forth to it. It's not just straight into the enemy. There's kind of a more nuanced combo system or counter system, and these games typically don't have a counter system. So I would probably pick up something else that had more of that style of combat. So I haven't played one of these games since, I guess, early college.
For me, while like Adam made a good point, I have gravitated towards these games, but at like this point now, I'll be 40 this year. I really hate any difficulty in games. Like if I do a boss battle and I die the first time, I'm just very tempted to like say stop. No, don't waste my time. So as much as Antoine said, oh, this is probably not going to be that hard, I imagine
It's not hard.
They're usually
It's not. It's really not. It's really to cool down after a hard day of work. You go into the mass and you shoot, and there's 1 or 2 buttons, and that's it.
I mean, it's not like Demon Souls. Like Demon Souls, that's a game that you throw in the garbage, because it stole literally 10 years of your life, right? But
no, I mean, but I'm saying is like we all are on the same age, right? Going back 20 years ago, there was sort of like games that you could trust difficulty. But I feel like everybody, you guys can give me your opinions on this. I feel like every game, if it's not like a Demon Souls, Dark Souls-esque game, has like sort of like a tapered difficulty spike where it goes up and down and up and down. So there are these spikes in every game, I believe, because that is what people want. People want that sort of build up and the climax. Yes, I defeated the boss, wonderful, right? And it's this point that I disagree with, because I don't care if the game's like I don't care for difficulty spikes. I want it to be easy. I want it to I want to roll over stuff in perpetuity. But of course, people are like, this sucks. This is too easy. I want to die. I don't know.
Okay, 2 points here. First point, Adam wouldn't play it because it's too easy. He wants something a bit more tailored to his taste.
It's
and
not that it's too easy.
You want a bit more challenge, right?
I want it to be a bit more dynamic.
Yeah. And the second point is, if it's like Hero Warriors, the only difficulty is in the challenge. You can do some difficult challenge, but if you don't want to, you don't care. There's no story. Either you do it or you don't. You choose your missions.
But you said, right, there are boss fights, right?
There sometimes are, but the boss fights are you just fighting another character that's basically just another you.
Boss fight is just a bigger soldier with more health.
Boss fights are not the focus. They are not designed for boss fights, because most of your attacks are these big AoE attacks that coalesce everybody into one big group and then explode them outward. So if you were fighting a boss and it's just one guy, your attacks aren't designed for that. So these games aren't designed for boss fights. So typically they don't have too many of them.
No.
But I mean, Fire Emblem is a great choice for this type of game because there's so many characters. So I mean,
absolutely,
there could be 100 bosses because there's like thousands of characters. So it's interesting. I'm definitely gonna try it.
Yeah, but here they really stay on the set of 3 houses, so you won't have the legacy. You won't have Mars, so you won't have the Smash, the guys which appear on Smash Bros. Except if they do DLC, maybe they will DLC. That would be nice, but otherwise, that should stay on 3 houses.
I think it's also worth noting that if you've been watching the video on the live show, I took 4 different trailers and put them all together. So there's the announcement trailer, and then there's one trailer for each of the 3 houses. And it has not, in none of these trailers does it show a boss fight. There's not a single boss fight anywhere in any of these trailers. So I don't think boss fights are... they're either not a thing or they're not a big thing. So yeah, these are not designed for that. These are really, like Antoine said, these are designed for... It's the end of the day. You want to relax. You want to feel good about yourself. So you just want to like decimate an army and feel like you're amazing. And that's what these games are designed to be and do.
And put some rock or metal behind.
All right. So for me, I just because I'd rather not risk $60 for this sort of, especially for a new genre that I've never played before, where I as much as you guys have convinced me in a sense, this will be buy on a sale for me. So buy the digital version or buy it on like secondhand for somebody, like that would be like $40 here in Taiwan, and keep an eye out for it. If I am looking to try something different, like I just bought Children of Morta the other day. So I'm looking forward to giving that a try. And that's a roguelike where you die all the time. So, but I have found myself enjoying that kind of sort of stuff. All right, quick news for you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think. Since we did mention this, China did allow 60 games to be released in May. Tencent did not get a pass, so they were not allowed to release any games in China in May, as reported by Reuters 12 hours ago. So I don't know what you guys think about that. I think it follows more along the line of Xi Jinping saying he doesn't want these powerful companies to have so much power anymore, which is why in China they sort of said, Tencent, you're going down.
I know a lot of these companies, apparently this is a thing in China where if a company where companies have this habit of completely shifting their just everything because these kind of things happen all the time. I think there was I don't know if it was Tencent or some other company, but I remember when the gaming kind of thing where they said we weren't going to be allowed to make games anymore. A lot of the companies were switching over to become pig farms. They were buying up pig farms and raising pigs now. So it's a way to keep the company alive. So they kind of have this habit of doing that, which sounds really, really strange, but it's either that or you go bankrupt and your company shuts down. So instead they just completely shift their industry, which is strange. But yeah, gaming in China is kind of in a weird place right now because originally it was kind of like what they did with movies where it was only domestic stuff, but yeah, now they're even shutting down, saying like making domestic things. And I think they still have that rule that kids can only play 2 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday only, or something like that. So yeah, so you can't even play during the week. And they're switching out English classes for was it Thoughts of She, I think is the name of the class that they're implementing. And so yeah, it's not to be political, but I mean, when you're basically trying to discourage people from learning other languages because you don't want them to be able to absorb information from outside your country, I don't know. I have opinions on that I'll try not to express. But as in terms of gaming, yeah, I think it's really hard to be a gamer over there right now. Because kids are limited to it, and I think they're trying to, in a way, I think it's going to kind of backfire because I think the idea is if kids grow up without gaming, it's not going to become a hobby for them. It's not going to become a habit. And so it's they don't have to worry about it when they get older. But I think it always backfires, where it's like, kids in college, like in the States, people can't drink till they're 21. You can't drink till you're 21. So kids go off to college and, you're 21 years old. Yay, let's go out and celebrate by getting like piss drunk and vomiting, like on the sidewalk because we have no concept of how to control our alcohol consumption, where you go to other countries, where it's not so taboo and people are like, okay, beer, whatever, who cares, right? So I think you're going to have that kind of opposite problem along with right now they have, was it the lay down flat movement? So I think that in the long run, it's going to backfire on them, and they're going to get a bunch of people who just, once they get old enough, they're just not going to want to do anything but game.
Antoine, Eric, what do you think?
Well, economically speaking, it's a big part of the economy. It's not a major part, but it's still interesting. And China is not having a massive growth as they had in the past 10 years, because of COVID and everything, and no tourism in the past 3 years at all. That's weird for them to completely shut off a piece of the economy. Not even talking about kids not being able to play or anything. It's just like they say this sector which employs X amount of people, tens of thousands, maybe more. Tencent again is very massive, unemployed, and this is just gonna, I don't know. It's weird just to kill like this a piece of your economy for, I don't see which reason, political reason, I guess, but I don't even see why. No, it's not something I understand.
I think the idea here is that the reason they don't want to allow all these games is because games are another medium for information, same as books, same as movies, but games are in some ways harder to regulate because they're a longer time investment. So like a movie, you can have a guy watch a movie in 2 hours and say like, okay, this agrees with the thoughts of the state, or this goes counter to what we believe, and that's not a problem. But I mean, look at like, what was it, Devotion, that game, and it was loved in China for a while, and then somebody found this one poster on the wall, and then the game got completely taken down off Steam and all these other things. So I think in games it's a lot easier to hide things, and so from a government perspective, if you don't want people seeing certain things, it's a lot more effort to go through and make sure everything's properly censored and whatnot. But also too, I think because a lot of games are built off of some sort of conflict. It doesn't necessarily have to be a conflict of war or something like that, but there's usually some sort of, like even in Tetris, right? The conflict is, can I get these things fit into the right place, right? There's always something like that. But I think the idea is that they want to be able to control what people are seeing and therefore control how they think. And games are a way that are much more difficult to control because they're longer. People are far more invested in them. And also, I think there's a slight element of, I mean, look at the console wars. Look at how passionate people get between Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, right? People have a lot of loyalty to their games. Same as, religion and political parties. And, religion is another thing that they don't really want over there. So I think that there's another way of, limiting what you can be loyal to.
So what do you think, Eric?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a very good question, Crian. I don't know. Coming from a world where we've been playing video games since the Atari or the Intellivision or the Coleco. Gaming was just part of our life day to day, and so it's hard, to see the government being so rough, in policies in regards to video games, especially like Antoine said, the video game industry is pretty big in China, and Tencent being, they don't just own video games, they're investing in Xiaomi's, their cell phone, their video game cell phone, they want to do like a video game streaming company as well. They're investing so much money. I really don't understand why to go, to that point, especially with the COVID zero COVID, or the policy that
Zero COVID policy
that is still in effect, right? Or so. No, I'm shocked. I'm surprised.
Very cool. And with that, we will end off today's show. So, guys, please have a look out for next week, where we're going to be talking about a Kickstarter darling, or maybe not a darling, but something on Kickstarter next week. And I'll have the guys choose something as well, so we can sort of give you an idea of what to expect in the next sort of should be 4 weeks for 4 of us, like what we're going to be talking about, what's exciting, because I love Kickstarter stuff. I check Kickstarter religiously, like a few times a week for stuff to back, because I'm crazy that way. But yep, lots of stuff happening this week. Don't forget to watch Adam streaming as well. Adam, you're going to be streaming still more Forbidden West, I imagine?
Yeah, probably. Because I like I said, I would typically play a big game, and then I play kind of a palate cleanser. And this time, Forbidden West, since I've already played it, I'm just kind of going through real quick, and I'm just doing the story, so I'll probably just finish that out and then pick something bigger.
And then you guys should be able to check out Phil as well. Phil is playing the Warhammer strategy game. Maybe Antoine remembers the name of that, or Eric remembers.
Total War.
Total War. Yeah, it's Total Warhammer 3. So he's on.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. If you look on our YouTube account, you can see he's playing Total Warhammer.
Is he streaming or?
I would assume so, because I did see a video there.
Cool.
I didn't look at it.
Phil.
I didn't look at it in too much detail, but yes. Please don't forget to check out our TikTok, check out our YouTube, subscribe, right? Because we get to see the number of people who are subscribed across different platforms. Please also follow us on social media. You can follow Adam, you can follow myself. Eric, are you on Twitter or any social media you want people to follow you on?
Not yet. Actually, I just started my Twitch channel. So
cool.
Yeah.
What's your Twitch channel?
It's Twitch Darkblaze.
Twitch Darkblaze. DARKBLAZE.
Yeah. So
Cool. So follow Eric on Twitch as well. You're right. What do you play? What are you streaming there, or when are you streaming?
Actually, I'm gonna start maybe focusing on VR gaming. I have a Cat VR. I don't know if you know about the Cat VR platform.
No, sorry.
Yeah, no. I can't really show it here, or maybe I can. Let me see if I can just. Can you see?
Oh, that's cool.
All right.
So it's like a
moving.
It's a treadmill.
I've seen that.
So I have the treadmill, the VR full set. So I'm gonna see how I can run in video games like Counter Strike and stuff like that, and see how much time I can play, and try to do some cardio at the same time. You know.
Nice. That is the gamer's dream, right? I'd love to be able to do that. All right, so that is it, and then we will see everyone next week. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Follow us, and yeah, we'll talk to you guys later.
All right. See ya. Have a good week.
Bye.